back to Inside Ultimate. Today I have another top 5 bottom 5 video for y'all. It's going to be a little different today. Not really much happened this past weekend for AUDL. Essentially everything went to essentially how I thought it was going to go. So I don't have anybody changing spots. So I'm just going to do a more brief video this week. Just show you the full rankings for my top 5 at once. Kind of explain to you what happened this past weekend and essentially why they're staying where they're at. And I'll do the same thing for the bottom 5. So yeah, let's hop right into this video. Alright, at number 5 is Colorado Summit. They didn't play this past weekend, so they're staying the same. Then we have the Atlanta Hustle. They are now 10-2. They beat the Carolina Flyers at home 23-22 in overtime. So they solidify their spot number 4 for me. That was their third win against Carolina this season. So there's that. And then DC, of course, they beat Toronto this past weekend. They beat them by 10 goals. So they're solidifying their spot at number 3 for me. They are now 9-3 on the season for the record. Number 2, Salt Lake. They didn't play. Definitely think they're still number 2 in the league right now. And at number 1 is New York Empire. They're fantastic. They beat Montreal. I mean, definitely not surprising there. I mean, Montreal was 0-11 going into that game. So New York Empire is now 12-0. They beat them by 9 goals in that game. So great win for New York again. Another undefeated regular season for them. So congrats to them on that. Definitely number 1 team on my top 5 list right now. So yeah, let's get into the bottom 5 now. So for my bottom 5 list, I have Montreal coming in at number 5. They had 2 games this past weekend. They lost both of them. They lost to Boston 12-18, and they lost to New York Empire 19-28. Both of those are very good teams they lost to, and that's essentially what's happened to them all season. You know, they're definitely better than their record shows. You know, they didn't win a single game all season. They're 0-12, but all their games they've lost to are either to solid teams or just really good teams. So, you know, I'm keeping them at number 5 in my rankings. So coming in at number 4 is Dallas. They beat Houston this past weekend 18-15, but then they lost to Carolina 21-27. Those are results I would expect. Like I said in my last top 5 bottom 5 video, I thought Dallas has gotten better throughout the season and has surpassed Houston, and I really think this result really solidifies that. Now that result against Carolina, that's essentially what I expected them to lose. It was a pretty close game, all things considered, considering Dallas is 2-10 and going into the game, Dallas was 2-9 and Carolina was 6-5 going into that game. A really just expected result there. So yeah, that's why I'm keeping Dallas at number 4 on my list. And coming in at number 3 is Houston. Already talked about that. Why I put them below Dallas. They lost by 3 goals to Dallas this past weekends, and their only 2 wins this season were against Dallas, and those were earlier on in the season. So I don't think Houston's getting worse or anything. They're staying about the same. I feel like over the course of the season, they haven't really gotten that much better. I feel like they haven't gotten really worse. Dallas has just really improved and built on each game after game, getting better. So that's why I have Houston coming in at number 3. Number 2, I have Portland. Portland Nitro. They only had 1 game this past weekend. They lost 15-25 to Seattle. That's a 10-goal loss there. It's quite a bit. So Portland's really struggling this season. I would love to see a Detroit versus Portland game, because I think Detroit would have a very good chance against Portland, because Portland is definitely struggling this season. thankfully for their franchise, they're able to get a win. So um, last weekend, or not last weekend, but the weekend before that. But you know, they're 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 struggling. They're definitely struggling. Um, I definitely think Houston's better than Portland. I think Houston's more consistent than Portland. But yeah, that's why I have Portland coming in at number two. And coming in at number one is Detroit. They're 0-12. They're um, another 0-12 season for them. They lost to Madison this past weekend, 15-18. Pretty close loss actually. But Detroit, had a really bad season again. They came close to being Indianapolis that one time, only lost by 1 goal, but really just struggling overall. I really do think they're the worst team in the league right now, so that's why I have them coming in at number one on my bottom five list. Alright, that concludes this week's top 5 bottom 5 episode. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all next time.